y'all. Hey, y'all. We're getting ready to go live on the WBNN. Y'all, please share this out with someone.
All right. Welcome to WBNN Tonight Question for Private Dr. Ladella Delay and those parts of the edition of Walking in Purpose International. Now, of course, we're broadcasting live in the beautiful downtown Lagos, Nigeria, since the home since 2013 in Roslyn, Pennsylvania, in the United States. Let's make sure our lines are clear. Unmuted. Angie, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank goodness. All right, the call in show, WBNN Nigeria. Recording started.
Well, good evening, and welcome to Walk in Purpose with Angela, our 4,268th presentation of NGOZITIME Multimedia LLC. Y'all, we are live from Lagos, Nigeria, streaming on TalkShoe.com. Of course, you can call in at 605-562-044 or 717-734-6904. Make sure you press the access code, which is 546-1150 pound. To enter the studio, you will need to press 1 pound. To join the conversation, you will need to press *2. I am your host, the 2023 International Internet Radio Hall of Fame Broadcasting Enshrinee. Also, the 2023 Anna Waddell Host of the Year. And tonight, we're going to be taking a careful, informed look at a high-profile case involving Texas teenager Karmelo Anthony. No relations to the NBA star Carmelo Anthony. Our special guest tonight, Dwayne, will share a little bit about himself, his advocacy work across Texas, and how he became involved in this case. We're going to examine the claim of self-defense, what Texas law actually says, and why these questions matter for families and communities. As always, we respect the court process. All defendants are presumed innocent unless or until proven guilty, and nothing you hear tonight is legal advice. This is a sensitive topic, and we want to hear from you. Cases like this often go unreported, and too many of our young Black and brown people get caught up in a system that can fail them. So I want you to share this stream with someone who may benefit. Call in to add your voice. Again, you can call in at 605-562-044 or 717-734-6904. Access code 546-1150 pound. Press 1 pound to enter the studio, and to join the conversation, press *2. Before we begin, before we begin, I would like to share a few quick data points to frame this conversation. In the United States, roughly 1.9 million people are incarcerated across the prisons and jails, and that is reported by the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Since 1989, more than 3,500 people have been exonerated, losing over 31,000 years to wrongful convictions, and that is data from the National Registry of Exonerations. Texas is constantly among the top states for exoneration, with hundreds cleared, many tied to faulty forensic practice and misidentification. Black America are about 13% of the U.S. population, but a y'all know I be getting my words messed up. A disproportionate share of the incarcerated and exonerated. Studies show that there are several times more likely to be wrongfully convicted or serious crimes, and that is reported by the National Registry of Exonerations. Y'all, tonight we will be discussing the community impact, the law, and the facts as they are known. Let's keep it respectful, evidence based, and focused on solution. Dwayne is here to help us do just that. So let's get started. Dwayne, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. How are you feeling today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great today. It's a blessed day.
Amen. Amen. Well, first, I want you to tell us a little bit about your background and what drew you to community advocacy in Texas.
Well, I have a background in theology, one also a little bit in social work as well. And what drew me to activism and helping the community is actually my own life and just watching other people's lives as well, going through the legal system on both sides, whether it was their own incarceration, their family's incarceration. For myself, I was formerly incarcerated myself as well. And so what drew me to being an activist in this space was actually when the Trayvon Martin case happened. It actually caught my attention. That's when I started learning how to do FOIA requests and find out and do more of a deep dive into the penal system around the country and find out a little bit about the laws. And I was fighting then for the stoppage of the standing ground laws that they were trying to pass in Texas at the time, that was already passed in Florida. And so what drew me to this case was really just being from that area and hearing the young people talk about it that day. It grabbed my heart, and I was drawn to the case at that point in time, and I just couldn't sleep. And I think God just really placed it on my heart at that point in time. So, with a lot of other circumstances happening, it really just dialed me in and gave me a tunnel vision to be a full-time activist amongst everything else that I'm doing to help and advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves and who find themselves in the judicial system in whatever capacity it may be.
So, what first made you want to get involved in this case?
Well, I was actually working on some stuff for my own business at the time, and I saw a post on Facebook and another post on, I believe it might have been on Instagram, that was some young people talking about what just happened at the school. And that was on April the 2nd this year. And so I started reading those, and then I started getting phone calls from people that I know that had knowledge of what the situation was and telling me about it. Then I started seeing on the news. And so I started paying attention and just listening to what the kids were saying. Most of them were probably middle school and young high school age. And their mindset was, I'm glad that this person, speaking of Austin Metcalf, would learn to keep his hands to himself now. And that alarmed me because those are young people saying that, one, this person has been doing this type of stuff before. And then two, for these young people to still be at school and then tweeting out and messaging out about something that was fresh, that was still happening at that moment in that space, it alarmed me and it caught my attention. And then when I saw Karmelo Anthony being paraded through the news, the local news media there in Dallas, the DFW area, and I saw his face, it just grabbed me. And at that point, my mind is that I am not going to sit by and let this young man take the road that a lot of people, myself and others, have taken in the Texas penal system and be railroaded. And especially from just listening to the beginning fruits of what happened on that day, at that time, it caught my attention. What really directed me to this moment was I was actually on TikTok. May have been maybe a few weeks later after the event. I was paying attention to it. I was getting my own information, and I was just paying attention. I was going on TikTok, and I saw an actual page that people were on a live, and I saw these two people going back and forth, and I just heard them cursing at each other. And one was a black lady, and I saw that no one was coming to her defense. So all these other people were jumping on her. So I went into the live and got up on the panel, and I just kind of just came to her defense. And once I came to her defense, the people started talking to me, and the one lady that was going at her was saying that she had saw the video and that she had strep. So I started talking about that moment, that, you know, how dare you go into a space that's public when you know you're sick. And I think that got the radar attention of those people at that point, and they started coming after me at that point. And I think that's when I was pushed into this moment, because we were talking about, through that time space, and probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks after that, talking about what was seen on the video that was being shown at Frisco ISD for a few weeks, and the people who know what happened but speak the opposite of the truth, they were upset about that truth getting out, and so those people started actively trying to stop people from talking about it. So that's what pushed me into the forefront of this case, where before I was just paying attention from my house and in my own life and praying and making sure that, you know, my prayers went up for that family and that young man. I guess having the audacity to protect a black woman that was being attacked because of what she saw and what she was telling, and then going myself and seeing that video and seeing that she would tell the truth and being attacked also for that, it pushed me into an activist mode, which I'm not unfamiliar with, but I just wasn't doing at the time.
Right. So, for educational purposes, for those that may not know about this case, what does the Texas law generally say about self-defense or stand your ground?
Texas law is actually just a self-defense law. It's not written like most of the other stand your ground laws, where it's actually a stand your ground law. What Texas did is they actually took the meat of the stand your ground law, so all of the written part of it, and they adapted it into our self-defense laws. And so now what our laws say in the state of Texas is that you don't have a duty to retreat, and that in that moment, if you feel, and that's basically what it's saying, that if you feel in fear for your life in that moment, that you could have physical bodily harm, or if you fear that they may be able to do physical bodily harm, even including unaliving for TikTok, and or murdering you on the regular platforms, you can use whatever force that you deem necessary, and that's up to and including unaliving force as well, or being able to take someone out of here with whatever force you deem necessary. That's what the state of Texas law states. I know a lot of people talk about provocation and all these other things that they talk about, but when they pass this law, it reads just like any other state or any other red state in the United States that has stand your ground. If we go back and we look at the Trayvon Martin case, we all know from looking at that case that George Zimmerman was in the wrong from the beginning all the way up until that moment. He followed the young man and told him not to. He kept on going. He attacked the young man. What happened is Trayvon got the best of him and started beating him. In that moment, according to Florida stand your ground laws, George Zimmerman feared for his life in that moment. So at that point, it didn't matter all the things he had did before. In that moment, he feared for his life, and he was able to use the force necessary to neutralize that threat. That is what stand your ground gives you the opportunity to do. In all of the stand your ground states, and specifically the state of Texas, you're able to not retreat. If the threat is coming toward you, you do not have to run. You do not have to leave. If you're fearful, you can neutralize that threat. And that's what the law states.
So my next question is, and you kind of touched on it already, My next question was going to be, how does the factor like provocation and unlawful possession of a weapon affect the self-defense claim in Texas in general? Because I've heard a lot of people on a lot of these panels that are Austin supporters want to bring up the poker or the utensil that was used in this case. So how does that factor into this case? Like, how does provocation and the unlawful possession of a weapon affect self-defense in Texas?
In Texas, provocation is something that has nothing to do with self-defense.
Okay.
I know people like to talk about provocation because provocation is probably written in every code in every state and even in some countries outside of the United States of America. However, provocation is you provoking someone. That's all that root word is, provoke. You're provoking someone to do something. That means I am pushing you to do whatever harm that you're doing to me. In this situation, Carmelo Anthony was sitting down minding his own business. He did not have any words he didn't call over Austin Metcalf, Hunter Metcalf, or the other two gentlemen that was with them. He did not call them over and tell them to come over and stand in front of him. He didn't call them over and told them to put their hands on them and start pushing, hitting, and stomping, or whatever they were doing to him. He did not call them over to do that. They came on their own. And by Hunter's own account, from his first interview he gave, fresh off this situation on August the 2nd, on April the 2nd of this year, he stated that he, his brother, and two friends were coming from the middle school, State Middle School in Frisco, and he said that they walked up and they saw Carmelo sitting there, and they asked Carmelo to move. That is nothing about provocation. Provocation means that Carmelo Anthony would have to come up to them and told them, "Hey, you want to fight?" That's provocation. And so all these people making those arguments, case law states against them in the state of Texas and really in all 50 states in the United States of America. The second part is they talk about the weapon or the knife. In the state of Texas, they passed a House bill, so it's a law in the state of Texas, that any knife that blade is 5.5 inches or less is legal for you to carry anywhere in the state of Texas by anyone. That means your 4-year-old can have a knife on their side, which a lot of kids in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, they're usually given a utility knife, which has the screwdrivers and the scissors and all that stuff on it. I carried it when I was in Boy Scouts, when I was in school back in the day. I'm born and raised in Texas. I carried a knife all 12 years in school. And so they're there. Now, whether your school has a policy against it or not, that's a whole different thing because we're not talking about policy. We're talking about law. And so the law in the state of Texas says that knife that we still don't know who brought it, because we know Hunter had been given one with his initial that was black as well, that we have a picture that he was carrying in his pocket as well. So it could have been Hunter's. It could have been Austin's. It could have been a lot of people's. But what I do know from seeing the video is that when they approached Carmelo Anthony and then they laid hands on him and attacked him, Carmelo actually backed out of the canopy and tried to get away. They pulled him back in by his gray hoodie, and then that's when the alleged poking, slashing, or whatever the case may be happened. And then he backed back out again, looked to his right, couldn't go that way. He looked to the left and took off. And as he went down, he fell, and then he got back up and took off again. And they gave chase. So those are the things that happened that day. So that knife itself is not illegal to have in the state of Texas because the blade was under 5.5 inches. And so that part, as far as them saying that he had an illegal weapon, no, he did not. And to state that he was carrying it unlawfully, that day on April the 2nd, Centennial High School, which is the high school that Carmelo Anthony graduated from, that he was attending at the time, Frisco ISD, which is the school district that's overall at that moment, and also the UIL, which governs all athletics in the state of Texas, all did an investigation on this very thing, on that incident that day. Carmelo Anthony didn't have not one violation from either institution. And I can tell you why I know that, because Carmelo Anthony was in jail for 11 days. The day after, maybe the day after, on the 3rd or the 4th, the UIL and Frisco ISD, they released the makeup day for August the 2nd to be held April the 2nd, to be held on April the 7th at Lobo Stadium, which is in Little Rock, which is the city right next to it where I stay. And on that list of runners, on that list was Carmelo Anthony, who should participate on April the 7th. That means that he was neither suspended, he didn't violate UIL rules, Frisco ISD rules, nor Centennial High School rules, and he was still in jail.
Wow. So I have visited quite a few of those panels. I have sit in and listened to quite a few people share their take on the video and different things. I've heard people even say that he was trespassing. I've had people say that that it was a one-on-one. When I heard you say that there were 4 people that walked up, and I've heard that clip over and over and over of Austin saying that it was him, his brother, and he said 2 kids. 2 kids, and I'm trying to figure out why is he calling them 2 kids. But I've heard that one, and it's like, to me, that sounds like 4 versus 1 and not 1-on-1. I've never seen the video, so I don't exactly know what took place. So I'm just going on the accounts of individuals that I believe are telling the truth, because every person that I've heard tell this story that went and saw the video that is for Carmelo, they say the same thing that you're saying. That there were 4 people that approached that tent, that canopy, approached that canopy, and they did not sit down. I hear people saying that they were sitting down and they were looking up, and all types of different stories that are being spread. But the one that really blows my mind is that they're trying to say that this baby was trespassing. And they love to bring up the poker. They love to bring up the poker, but do not answer the first question. We didn't go into details about the actual occurrence of what individuals have said happened under that tent. Because if you listen to Austin's story, he said that his brother asked him to leave the tent, and then he grabbed his bag. So a lot of things happened before the poking even happened, but everybody's so quick to jump to the poking instead of what caused the poking, because nobody just poked somebody. So can you kind of elaborate on some of those things that you saw that led up to this poking? Dwayne, are you there?
All right, Dwayne, make sure he's still on available. Here we go. All right, Dwayne, you're there. All right, sorry about that. I think my phone kind of cut me out. I had to call back in. but yeah, I did get a question though. From the video itself, you can see Carmelo was already sitting there for several minutes. He and probably about another 6 or 7 people, and there was other people walking back and forth. At no time did neither one of the twins nor the other 2 guys that were with him were sitting. However, there were other kids that I would state, from looking at the video, were involved. And I say that because there was a young person in a yellow poncho. You can see them walking up right before those 4 individuals come, and they kind of sit down and kind of look back to where Carmelo was. And you know how someone is when they're part of something, but they're nervous. They kept looking back and looking around and watching those 4 individuals walk up. There's also a video, it's a Snapchat snippet of 4 seconds. Most of these people that do the lives on TikTok, they have a still photo, and it shows Carmelo sitting from behind. That original video is 4 seconds long from Snapchat, and it's from a young person, so I won't say their name, but they recorded it and said a few minutes before, 2 minutes before the incident. You can see on the video that person coming from the left side, coming back into the canopy and sitting down before the 4 individuals walked up. So to me, this was a pre-planned moment based on whatever Hunter Metcalf, Austin Metcalf, and the other kids that were involved, which one of the young men that gave a statement on the police report actually stated himself on many occasions, I guess, to people or other folks talking about it, that he was there and he was part of the moment. This young man ran against Carmelo Anthony probably a few weeks before that, prior to that, and Carmelo, beat him handily. And so I think this is the young person that kept going up and down when the force surrounded Carmelo Anthony. And so when they walked up, they came with a mission. They did not walk slowly. They were not running, but they were walking with a fast pace. And they walked up to that space. They never sat down. And you could see them at that point, one of them walking up and down like he was going to touch Carmelo and come back. You could see the one that's probably the second from the right, which I would assume that would be Austin, based on how everything went down. That one leaning forward, so I guess that's when he was, as Hunter said, taking his backpack and throwing it and putting his hands on him. And but from what I saw, they actually assaulted Carmelo Anthony, and he did everything to get out. And if you look at the original looking photo, you can see the webs on his eyes, you can see the webs on his chin, and he's actually missing a part or a piece of his hair, his locks, from over his ear. Mm-hmm. And so they had him in a headlock. They had him in all kinds of different things, and they assaulted this young man. And just by the grace of God, he got away. But what people have to understand as well is that these young men not only assaulted him, but when he got away, after the poking, the scraping, or whatever it was, the other 3 young men chased him. They mm-hmm. chased after him. So if their story is saying that they wanted him to move from the tent or the canopy, then they accomplished that twice, because he backed up trying to get out when they originally attacked him. They pulled him back by his gray hoodie, and they began to put him in a headlock and began to assault him more, and that's where the leg poking or whatever happened at that point in time. He got away again and ran away. They gave chase. Austin was still up under the canopy coming down, slowly holding his chest, almost in a moment to where he was like having maybe a heart attack or something, or his heart was seizing, because it wasn't in motion that he was being stabbed, because none of the other kids moved like blood was all over the place, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
They still stayed cheating. All the other kids under the tent were still looking. Under the canopy, they were still looking. No one moved. They gave chase. Carmelo was quick, so he ran and went to a coach. And when he got to the coach, they stopped giving chase and turned around. So if it was about him leaving from the canopy, you would have went to the coach and said that he was under here doing whatever he was doing. But it was not about a canopy. It was not about him being in the wrong place. It was about Carmelo Anthony. And so whatever it was, you hated him, you were jealous of him, whatever that moment was, that's what it was about. And they gave chase after him like they were hunting him, not like they were into an incident or got into a scuffle or a fight. It was not a fight. So anyone say it was a fight, they're lying to you. If anyone say it was a mutual combat, they're lying to you. If anyone say it was just an argument under the canopy, they're lying to you. Because it was none of those things. It was an assault. And that's what's being hidden from the public. And also, just for clarity, we understand that the police report says from one of the witnesses and one of the police officers stating that Carmelo said, touch me and see what happens, and hit me again and see what happens, all this other drama. From what I know, Carmelo never said none of that.
Wow.
So that's just the witnesses that were with Austin and Hunter Metcalf making up these narratives because no other witnesses said that. None of them.
Wow.
And so this was just Hunter and that witness saying that, and then that officer saying that that he said that I'm not alleged and all this other stuff. Those are things that meet the statute to charge you with first-degree murder in Texas. So if you think about it, all those things that they're saying, they're trying to meet provocation. They're trying to meet the moment of saying, yeah, I did it. That's what it is. It was kind of a planned moment. But if you look at the totality of the situation, they had Carmelo from the time the incident happened. They had him booked in jail probably within 30 minutes. He was booked under first-degree murder. Remember, you don't know, but if anyone saw the video or know about the video or just listen to the reports that they talk about it, or even from Jeff Metcalf himself on TikTok.
I heard the Jeff Metcalf. I heard his 14 hours of being on a live and all of the things that he said, and he said a lot. And
I said a lot, but what he said here and what is fact is that it took them about 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, for them to even leave the scene from when this happened. Now, Carmelo is long gone and booked, right?
Right.
And he's already at Frisco at the police department under first-degree murder. It took them another 20-some minutes, according to Megan Metcalf, that she beat the ambulance to the hospital, right? This is her own words from TikTok again, and also from ABC News in Dallas, and also Fox News. This is them in their testimony that she beat them there. So now we have almost an hour, by 40, 50 minutes maybe, almost an hour that have elapsed that this young man got to the hospital, and then they worked on him still at the hospital. Remember? And they said that he died in Hunter's arms at the hospital. Is basically what they're saying, because Hunter never went back to Austin at the actual scene. So our coach was holding him, so he never even got to that point. So he did not have no blood on him at the scene and all that stuff, because he was not holding Austin at that moment. So at the hospital, maybe he did. I don't know. I guess that's what the parents was talking about. But that's a whole hour and some change that elapsed.
Well, according to Hunter, he unalived in his arms, his twin unalived in his arm. If we listen to what Hunter said, but in that case, if that was the case, then the coroner should have left with the body and not the EMTs. So we know that narrative is wrong.
Yeah, and they worked on Austin for a while at the actual. They pulled around to they have a little medical center right there by the field that they have trainers and medical staff here, and they pulled there, and they were there for a good 30 minutes maybe working on them. And they said he coded, and they brought him back a few times. Then they went to the furthest hospital they could find, which is in Plano, near I think Megan's house out that way. And so they went there and took him there. So again, a whole hour and some change has elapsed from him being transported and worked on at the hospital, and they finally pronounced him dead at the hospital. Carmelo is already booked in jail under first-degree murder. How can you be booked for first-degree murder already, and Austin Metcalf hasn't even been pronounced yet? So again, these cops that in Frisco PD, that the lieutenant or captain who failed to turn his body cam on till certain places, the cops that knew or that know Jeff Metcalf and Megan Metcalf from whatever moment that they have that they know them from, these people were doing everything they could to solidify this charge for Carmelo by stating the things they need to state in the police report, cutting off body cams, interviewing the kids on the bus together, allowing Hunter Metcalf to leave from the scene without going to the police department, without giving a statement to the cops at the scene. They allowed him to go home, which he went to the hospital, came home a few hours later, and had the interview on WFAA, Channel 8 News in Dallas. And him and his mom talked about what happened at the newsroom at the house. Then later that evening, he was allowed to come in at 9 something at night and give a statement at Frisco Police Department. And he's a principal actor because if, from what the police officer said in the police report, Carmelo told him he was defending himself and that he shouldn't have put his hands on him. So that's self-defense. So that means that these people have to assault that young man for self-defense. So under their own rules and regulations of Frisco PD, you were supposed to take everybody to the police station. You were supposed to grab evidence from everybody at the police station. You were not supposed to let anybody leave and go home.
Right.
And willy-nilly go with their parents. But you did that because you know Jeff Metcalf. He's known as his swatting call incident report says, the police officer said, we went to the residence of Jeff Metcalf, who is known to Frisco PD.
Wow.
And I know he's known because he's a major donor and supporter of the MAGA Republican Party in the state of Texas, in North Texas. And so everybody knows. The judge knows him. He knows Judge Roach. He knows the DA Willis. They're good friends. He knows all these people. The police department, as police officer at the police department. He grew up with some of these people because he's a resident and a lifelong resident of Frisco, the city of Frisco. And
wow.
So he's known to these people. And so they did everything to cover up the assault that these young men did on Carmelo Anthony and to keep Hunter from being arrested because he should have been arrested that day for causing the murder of his brother.
Wow. So for those that are tuning in, we are talking about an incident that took place on April the 2nd, 2025. It is a fatal altercation at a North Texas high school track meet that left 17-year-old Austin Metcalf unalive and fellow student Carmelo Anthony charged with first-degree murder. Authorities say that an argument during a rain delay escalated and ended in a stabbing, a poking. Anthony, they said that Anthony, but we still have no evidence that he admitted to the act, but claimed self-defense. The case has drawn intense attention and has been fueled by video footage. There has been debates about this case, and there are so many things that have come up about this case. There's currently a gag order in place, and the trial is set for June 1st, 2026. I want you guys to call in and chime in on this conversation. Y'all can call in at 605-562-0444 or 717-734-6904. Make sure you punch in the access code, which is 546-1150#. To enter the studio, you must press £1, and to join the conversation live, press *2. We would love to hear from you. So, a lot of people have been saying a lot of stuff. It is unfortunately, but this young man, Carmelo, it just they tried to paint a narrative that was so off. At first, they wanted to say he was from a broken home, but he wasn't from a broken home. He has both parents in the home. This young man was a A student. I think he had like a 3.89 or a 3.9. He was headed off to school. He was headed off to college. He was not just the captain of the football team, but he was also the captain of the track team. So it speaks volumes about his character and who he is. For someone to be able to be captain of both of those things, because I was the captain of my basketball team, it takes leadership. And you can't be someone that's causing trouble. This young man was not only a good student, but he was an amazing athlete. I think he ranked number 12 in the state of Texas in track. So he was doing some amazing things. Did not appear to be a hellraiser. So the narrative that they have tried to paint from the beginning, it was so off. And I want to applaud you and all of those activists and all of those that have been really bringing a light to this case, because I just happened to happen upon it on TikTok. And I think this happened the day after my birthday. And I just happened to be over on TikTok and just happened to happen upon it. And it just kept drawing every time I would go over, it just kept drawing me and drawing me. And I just wanted to bring some light to it because a lot of people don't even know about this case. We see so much stuff in the media, but we don't see a positive narrative about this case. They have made it seem criminal to defend yourself. They have made self-defense a crime. And with them doing this gag order, they have made it impossible for individuals that want to see this video to go see this video now, because at one point people were able to go see the video. Now people can't see the video. And we are asking for them to release the footage so that people can see. We want people to be able to see really what happened so that they can stop spreading these narratives. We talk about Jeff Metcalf coming on TikTok and doing a 14-hour live on a panel. He was on there for 14 hours, and this is days after this happened. Any person that has lost a son or a loved one would not be on social media. I've not seen the Anthonys doing any of this that the Metcalfs has been doing. It's like they are trying to paint a narrative and they're trying to drive it home, not in Carmelo's favor. When we see what's really going on. We see what's going on. So I want you to talk about some of these narratives that they have been trying to 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 pass, and you've been able to debunk them.
Well, the main one was the beginning of this case, and I believe that people would know everything about this case all over the world. Sarah J. Fields, I'm just going to go ahead and say names. Kelly Fletcher, who is AKA Dallas Lady on TikTok, and people who were working with them with Facebook groups. A lot of them who went to church with Jeff Metcalf over at the what's the name of the church, Hope Fellowship in Frisco. They decided that they were going to get a group of people together and take Tiffany Billion's Facebook page down. Because in the beginning, when this case first started happening, I didn't really know Tiffany Billion at that point in time. But I used to see Facebook posts every now and then on her post talking about the case, giving out information as things were going and everything. And then all of a sudden, I didn't see nothing. It was just gone. And so one day I went to go check a message from my best friend on TikTok, and I went to go through, and all of a sudden that's when I ran into her up on, that's the lady I was spoke of in the beginning, that was up on the panel, and she was arguing with the Dallas lady on the panel, and they were going at each other, cussing each other out. But I've seen all these other people going at Tiffany instead of going at Dallas lady, and what she was talking about, Dallas lady was basically just spewing lies. So I went up in there and I started talking about that moment. But that was the moment that this misinformation started, because they took down the one person in Tiffany Billion off of Facebook that had a large following that could get the information out to the masses. Now, Tiffany went over to TikTok, which she is right now, and she's actually live on TikTok right now, speaking to people about this case and about other situations as well. But these people have started, whenever they see someone like myself or anyone that speak to the truth of this matter and bring out just the facts of what Texas law is, what stand ground law is, what happened that day, they begin to dox you, they begin to bring up the criminal past, they begin to do all these things, which they did all those things to me. I just don't really care. But they do a concerted effort, and it got to the point to where Megan Metcalf herself came onto someone's TikTok live, and she stated that it's this gentleman that's going around talking about that the twins chased Carmelo Anthony, and is there something that you guys can do to debunk this guy? The Dallas lady, Kelly Fletcher, stated, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We know that is. That's Dwayne talking about me because I was the one that stated that." And she was like, "Don't worry, we got them. We got them." From that day on, these people have tried their best to do whatever they could to stop me from saying what I said. Like it was just going to erase what I had already said, but that's just what happened. From that point on, they really just pushed me more into activism. But they've also pushed other people to the deep end, which they had a young man that made the mistake of falling into their trap, and he's in jail right now for threatening someone online. And so that's the depths of what these people would do in order to protect the truth. And I'm going to quote Megan Metcalf, the mother of Austin and Hunter Metcalf, the ex-wife of Jeff Metcalf. She stated on that same live, they asked her, what could they do to help them and Hunter cope through this moment? Her exact words, and this is a direct quote, and I have the video that I can always send to you so you can play it. She stated that I need you guys to support Hunter until the truth comes out. That's what she said. I'll repeat it. She said, I need you guys to support Hunter until the truth comes out. That family knows exactly what happened. Even on one of the interviews that Jeff was doing, I think maybe the third one he did, he was talking to a reporter, and you can clearly hear Hunter come out the house and hit the thing for his vehicle to get in it. And the reporter said, "Hey, there's Hunter. Did you want to say something to him?" Jeff Metcalf gave that man a look that you give your child that you know that messed up everything in the world, and you gave him a stare that you want them to just be gone from this world. And Jeff paused and just looked at that young man and said, "No, I have nothing to say to him." And watch that boy go to the car and you hear the door shut. And Jeff had to collect himself and get back to the interview. And that whole time his face was tore because he knows that man is responsible for the unaliving of Austin Metcalf. He knows it. However, in pure fashion of the MAGA Republican, I want to say it, but I'm not. But in their fashion of the white nationalist Christian moment, they know that they have to hold the lie because the lie is believable most time more than the truth. And so they'll push that narrative. And to them, the more they push their narrative, the more they lie, the more they dox people, scare people from being able to speak on this moment. At that moment, they'll be able to try to force the Anthonys to take a plea, which are not. They doxed the Anthonys. They had a young lady named Melanie Stowers. She worked at the Collin County courthouse. That woman was giving Kelly Fletcher and others, Sarah Field, all of them, information of where the Anthonys moved to every time they had to move. So they were doxing these people from the courthouse. So Tiffany Billions, which I thank God for her every day.
Amen.
That woman had everyone get together and figure out what was going on. And it was evident. This woman. And so guess what? Letters were sent to the Collin County courthouse, and she was fired. She was let go, and she proved that to us because she was messaged Kelly Fletcher, Dallas lady, and she posted it for whatever reason. Somebody posted it, and she told her, "Hey, I just got let go because of that information I sent you." So they were doxing them from the court.
Wow.
That's a violation of Carmelo Anthony's due process rights. That is a violation of his case, period. So again, the judge knows the Metcalfs. They have a photo with them at a Christmas, at some type of party, fundraiser or whatever. The DA definitely knows the Metcalfs.
Wow.
They have people inside the courthouse that's willing to get information of where and what is going on with the Anthonys. I'm glad that the judge finally thought that he needs to give a gag order, but it should have been a gag order when Kelly Fletcher and Sarah Fields were doxing people. But now my address all on TikTok. And my information on TikTok. Where was the gag order then?
Wow.
Just calling out Carmelo Anthony all over the place. And they say they don't want to release the video because the young kids are on the video. But guess what? There was a case. I believe it was I think somewhere around August the 15th. So this is recent. It's in Farmersville, Texas, which is actually in Collin County as well. So this is under D.A. Willis's protection. It was a lady, a YT lady that took a little preschooler that had some special needs or something, and she kind of roughed their kids up, putting their kids down real hard and whatever, and they were looking into it. So they're not supposed to show that because that's young babies, that's kids. You know, that's what they're saying. The reason that they don't want to release the Carmelo Anthony tapes from Frisco ISD. But guess what they just put out just 2 days ago? The entire video of that young lady throwing their baby down on their floor and laying down with the baby and everything while other people came. And what do? They just redacted her face out, redacted the kid's face out. But you see what happened? And they didn't charge her either. Even though the parents wanted to be charged, they said it just reached the moment of the level of them charging her. But that shows you the hypocrisy of what this is, because the DA knows. Frisco ISD already know. I know they know because they told me they knew that these twins and their friends, their gang of thieves, attacked Carmelo. Mm-hmm. They attacked him. They assaulted him. They took his belongings, so that's theft. They did everything to this young man, and they broke UIL rules by leaving the track meet. Hunter said that they left and went to the.
He must be having some technical difficulties. But y'all, I tell you.
You know what, Queen? I got it when he comes back on. Listen, everything he's saying is true. It goes right back to this is my little editorial piece. This is Dr. WADDELL and Malay Windosi, proprietor of this network. The Scottsboro boys in the 30s. You know, it reminds me of that. Innocence. Now, this young man is guilty until proven innocent, right? And I've been saying this for a long time, Angela. Where is the NAACP Legal Defense Fund? Where are our brothers and sisters that used to fight all the time for situations just like this? Glad our brothers got to bring back one moment. And bring back while I'm talking. Hey, brother, this is Dr. NGOZITIME. I'm just making some quick points for you back on here. And people who are out there, you know, press star 2 to talk to this young man. He's intelligent, and he deserves your time. Where is the NAACP Legal Defense Fund? How come Al Sharpton is not in Texas? I thought about the Deacons for Defense. I thought about reaching out also, brother, if you can. I know one person would love to come there, and our brother is Fred Hampton Jr. of the Black Panther Party. Chairman Fred would love to come in with the brothers and stand in that courthouse, have the brothers outside every day until justice is done. We know we've gotten away from, direct action. We TikTok, see people come on to WBNN, just listen and don't have no action. And I know you guys out there ghosting, and I see you. Time is out to being the scared rabbits. We have a lot of scared rabbits in our American African race. There's no such thing as African American. You're an American African. So we as American Africans got to get better. Freed men, okay? Freed women have to do better. Because our brother out here is not free. Okay? He's a young brother who has to defend himself. And I'm glad they could have killed him. How about that? It's going to be the other way around. They're going to beat him to death. Or accidental, ass whooping to cause our brother to die. No, he defended himself. And I'm proud of him. And, everybody talk about the climate of hate and the climate of racial discontent. Okay. The only thing that's going to change that is us. Let's stop being scared rabbits. And also, too, and I'll let you guys go back to the show, the appalling silence of the good people. I'm going. Yeah.
Wow. Well, definitely, we want to encourage the Black Panther Party to get involved. Anybody that wants to get involved with this case, um, the Anthonys have had to move. Um, the father was let go from his job because they were harassing him on his job, and it's just a sad situation. Not only that, Carmelo has turned 18, in spite of, even though he was 17 and they were charging him as an adult, he's 18 now. He's responsible for his own defense. So the young brother was working two jobs because he was making his way. He was being a responsible young adult. And when I tell you he was being a responsible young adult, everything that I have found out about him has been nothing but good. But then you look at the the twins. We talk about how they bullied, how they even was harassing cheerleaders and different things that they were doing. Not so good. But then you have this young man that was trying to be an upstanding young man and wanted to make a good and wanted to make his way and be a productive part of this society. And now he's having to go through this. But I want y'all to know that there are ways that you can support the Carmelo Anthony family. They have a what is it? Go, hold on, let me find it. Give, send, go. It is a give, send, go. You can go givesendgo.com. You can go to www.givesendgo.com / help Carmelo. Make sure that it is the one that says Help Carmelo Official Fund, because that someone has also set up a fake account, and we want to make sure that you are donating to the right account. The goal is to raise a little over $1 million, because it's going to take all of that to help get this family back together and to defend this young man. So far, they have raised $555,221. So if you can, please go over to www.givesendgo.com / help Carmelo. I'm telling you, it would greatly be appreciated. And I am thankful for everyone that have allowed their platforms to be a positive outlet for defending this young man, because he truly stood his ground. He stood his ground, and I'm thankful because I saw that picture, and he wasn't just missing a piece of hair, y'all. He was missing a whole patch over his ear. You can see it. You can see the hair that's missing. If you go and you look at some of these photos that's floating around his mugshot, you will see that patch of hair that's missing. You will see the swollen lip and the eyes. And I tell you, it's just sad. Again, Dwayne, I thank you for what you're doing. I'm grateful that I've been able to sit in on a lot of these panels and get an opportunity to really see what's going on, because a lot of people that know me know that I have been advocating for those that have been wrongfully and overly incarcerated in the state of Texas. So that's another reason why I have been drawn to this case. For the last 3 years, I have really been working with those that are incarcerated within TDCJ, women and men. We just had a man that was wrongfully incarcerated over 35 years come home on August the 7th. So I definitely have been working in the state of Texas trying to advocate for them. And I am grateful for what you guys are doing. So hats off to you. And again, I thank you for your advocacy and the work that you are doing. I know it's a lot dealing with this case, but for those that really may not know about this case, what is something that you can share with them that we haven't already talked about?
Well, one thing I can share is that with the Give and Go, that is probably the most important thing for this family, because again, the Metcalfs their church and other people decided to go for almost 2 weeks, I believe it was, to Drew Anthony's job. He was a finance manager at a pretty large dealership in the DFW area. And they went to that man's job, went through the whole process of buying a vehicle with the sales team. And when it was time to go to the finance manager, they would say, "Don't worry about it. We don't want the car. We don't want the car anymore because you employ a man that's son unalived Austin Metcalf." And they would leave. And these people did that, and they went through their whole group of people. Then they bragged about it on Facebook, on their pages. And guess who came right after all of them had went? Jeff Metcalf came and stood in those people's place and was asking for Drew Anthony as well. And it got so bad that he had to take leave. He had to take a leave of absence and eventually wasn't working there. So for months, this man has not been able to earn income for his family. Yet have to move 3 times out of their first home, which was in a gated community, and then move to all these other locations to protect his family. Still not able to work because these people were relentless. Still, I think to this day, still giving out different things to that dealership about him working there or had worked there. And so these people have made a concerted effort to harm this family at all costs. This family is trying their best to keep their son free because they know from their investigator and people like myself, like Tiffany, and others who have seen the video, they know that this young man is innocent. And they're trying to keep their son out of the grasp of this evil, systematic whitewashing of our penal system and our court system by these people in Collin County.
Exactly.
And it's something that we all see all the time. But as the brother just spoke earlier, we have to not be fearful. These people have come after me, trying to put me in jail, trying to lock me up, trying to do all kinds of things. Come to my house. And I just always let them know, hey, dirt and shovels move. I stay in Texas. So where you want to come, you come at your own risk. But these people do that, not knowing that I'm just built like that, and I can take it. I ain't tripping. But other people can't. Wow. And so they know that. And one thing we have to do as a people, we cannot be fearful to stand up for what is right. And what is right now is making sure these people do not railroad Karmelo Anthony, but also making sure that they stop railroading our people, period. And it takes us to stand up for our own. We have to stop worrying and looking for others to stand up for our people. We have to do it. And on this case, I can tell everybody from just me knowing about the penal system, its lawyers are right now getting the discovery. They are sending out their subpoenas of different information, different things. And I can guarantee you one thing, that based on what I know about this case, they're going to end up, once they get everything back from discovery, they're going to end up challenging the affidavit because it's full of lies and full of holes. They're going to challenge the actual indictment itself because that is the weakest indictment I've ever seen in the history of the state of Texas of looking at cases in my 53 years of living.
Wow.
I've never seen a murder indictment that's 1 page long, 2 sentences long. I've never seen it.
Oh, wow.
But that's what we have. And in this case, we know that they have rushed to try to silence this moment and get Carmelo to plea out. Because they know they don't have a case. But they, as the DA said out of his own mouth, that he put this before the grand jury for 3 weeks. And the grand jury found nothing. He said he had to go in and summarize to them. And he came out with that 1 page, 2 sentence indictment.
Wow.
That's corruption.
Wow. At its best.
And so since we know it's corruption, then we have to fight it like we know it's corruption.
Exactly.
We have to fight it like Carmelo Anthony is our own child. I fight like he is my son.
Exactly.
And I don't even know these people.
Exactly.
But I'm going to stand 10 toes down for them, even after he's free. Even after this case has been dismissed, because I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be dismissed with prejudice. After that, I want to see all these people removed from office, and I want to see them go to jail for what they did.
Exactly.
Because what they did is criminal activity, and it's also RICO. behavior because they have all conspired to do it.
Well, we know that Texas is. Well, we all know that Texas is one of the most corrupt. They have one of the most corrupt judicial systems for the last 30, 40 years. We have seen different things that have come through there. That there was a judge that they did something to not too long ago, and she was able to clear her name. Um, but we have caller number one in queue. I want caller number one to state their name and where they're calling from. Caller number one, you are live.
Hi, Queen Angela. This is Commissioner Unique.
Hey, Unique. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm here in Texas. I'll say it's maybe
You're actually in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, right?
This is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing here is they have threatened a lot of the blacks here about the Carmelo case and saying that if they support him or they find out that they're supporting him or even if they talk about it, they will be terminated from their job. It's a political thing. They know they're doing him wrong. They have wronged him. But a lot of the blacks here in DFW in the Dallas County said they don't care what they do. They're not going to have them with this suppressed slave man. They know that the twin was wrong in every way, but they're trying to make it seem like Carmelo was the wrong individual. So we're still fighting it here. We're standing 10 toes down with you guys, and we thank y'all for the support because it's a lot of young black men have been wronged here in Texas, and they just think they can continue to get away with it, and we're tired of it. And my show will be on Tuesday the 23rd next week, and also I'll be on the Groove this weekend at www.podbean.com. And you can type in WBNN and it'll pop up the Groove, and you can join us at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, and we will be featuring the Reverend John P. Key. We need some religion. We need prayer. You pray for us and we'll pray for you, and we'll watch God change some things. And I just thank y'all for just having this on the platform tonight, because Queen Angela and the gentleman, y'all are doing a superb job, and we just appreciate everything that y'all doing.
Well, thank you for...
Hey, Commissioner Parker. It's like that. You know what I mean? You just doing the show by yourself? You're right. I'm calling.
No, with Dr. O. Let me not forget Dr. O. the honeybee. Let me first and foremost mention that he is the Groove. I'm just a co-host over there on the Groove with him, his partner in crime.
No, she's just not a co-host. She is my partner, y'all, and we'll get our wheels stills 1 and 2, Angie and brother Dwayne, and come on, Dwayne. Just file the information from you, Unique or Angie, and we're gonna celebrate the legacy of the Reverend John B. Key and fight fire, Durham, North Carolina. That's what we're gonna do.
Most definitely. Hey, he used to, back in the day at my church when I was growing up, we were label mates with him on Top Guy Records back in the day. So, I know about the John B. Key.
If you would inbox me, and I will post the link on my page, because a lot of people don't know how to reach out to him, and I will pass the word on this end.
All right. Well, amen. Well, thank you for calling in and supporting, and please continue to be a voice out there in Texas. Continue to help share about the Carmelo Anthony case, because there's a lot of people that say they don't know about this case. So we are utilizing every outlet that we can to continue to get the word out there and to continue to draw some support for Carmelo and his family, because Carmelo is not the only child. They have 4 other kids. So definitely, we definitely want to support them. Again, if you can support the Give, Send, Go, please go over to givesendgo.com/help Carmelo and donate. Every little bit counts, and it would definitely be appreciated. So just wanted to throw that out there. Again, if you guys want to call in and chime into the conversation, you can. All you have to do is dial in at 605-562-044 or 717-734-6904. Make sure you press that ID code 546-1150 #. Press £1 to enter the studio, and to join the conversation live, you will need to press *2. Y'all, we have caller number 2 in queue. Caller number 2, if you please state your name and where you're calling from. Caller number 2.
Call you live on air. I'm gonna put them back on ice and bring on call. Okay, now. Okay, there we go. Go ahead.
Caller number 2.
Caller number 2, you're live. State your name and where you're calling from.
Okay. My name is Bossy. I'm calling from Texas. And I just wanted to address a couple of things about the case. We have actually been following the case from day one on my TikTok panel. Dwayne is also a part of one of the people that sits on my panel every day. The first thing I want to address is Carmelo's educational status. So he graduated high school with a GPA of 3.7. He had already met graduation requirements long before this case ever came to be. They tried their best to have him failed, and they did not want him to get a diploma. It did not work because he was already graduation ready, if that makes sense. There was nothing that they, as we know, every scholarship offer that he had from before this, he still has those, and that's 21 offers. No school has pulled their offer from him. But what we're shedding the most light on now regarding the case is the district attorney, who has settled a civil lawsuit in the Collin County area. He had sexual harassment charges for 11 women that work in the district attorney's office. 6 of those women settled with court for $1.7 million. He would not have a criminal case. It would only be a civil case. So right now what we're doing is we're advocating to shed light on that so that we can get a special DA appointed to the case to try and better things for Carmelo. Now, we are believing that Carmelo will not even have to go before a judge. Like, we're believing that he's going to be exonerated, charges will be dropped, and then they will be applied to the person that they really need to be applied to. Also, Carmelo, his dad, was being harassed by Mr. Metcalf, just like Dwayne told you guys at the job. He took a leave of absence. They did not ask him to leave, to our knowledge. He volunteered to leave to keep for the, for his own sanity, so that he would not get in trouble for retaliating to Mr. Metcalf. But they did not. Mr. Metcalf, I actually was able to stream live the parent press conference on my channel when they had it, and we have the footage of him actually being forced out of the parent press conference. He did not want to leave. He kept saying after the fact that he went there to pray with them, but if that's the case, why is it that you never made that known first off. For two, that when you were asked to leave, you did not leave, and then you had to be physically removed and escorted by plainclothes officers who was being provided for by Dominique Alexander, who is the spokesperson, one of the spokespersons for Carmelo Anthony. And as far as we know, they have been relocated 4 times due to the address of their quote unquote secret, for the lack of a better word, location. Every time they get moved to a different location, the address is being leaked, so they've had to move 4 times. We're hoping and praying that this time right here is the last time. They won't have to go anywhere anymore. The police department does know that Mr. Metcalf is behind this stuff. Now, why they not doing nothing, I don't know. He actually had all this water scam stuff going on where he had the police believing it was people squatting him and all this different kind of stuff. And all of that stuff has been either made out to be known as a lie or debunked, either way. So just kindly, please, everybody, keep Carmelo and the Anthony family in your prayers.
Yes.
And even after Carmelo is exonerated, we still screaming justice off. It's not one-sided for us. Like, we know our baby is innocent, but we still screaming justice for Austin, because at the end of the day, if Hunter had never approached Carmelo and said anything to him at all, his brother would still be alive. So let's prosecute the right person here.
Wow. If you would, I want you to state who you are and how people can support what you are doing as well, if you don't mind.
My name is Miss Bossy. You guys can find me on TikTok. If I'm not on my own panel on TikTok, I do have, well, we do have what we're calling the family. So there's a group of us on TikTok. So if you can't find me on my platform, you can definitely find me on Uncle Cecil's platform. One of us will be live daily, as we've been since April the 4th. One of us will be live daily discussing any new news that we learn, any new information that we learn. We've actually been blessed and afforded to kind of have a good leeway in with Miss Tiffany Billions. She's amazing. If you're not following her on TikTok, please do me a favor and follow her. She has great content and great information, and she's one-on-one with the family. So if you're looking for you and me, you can find me, Miss Bossy, or you can find us on Uncle Cecil's page, which is Uncle with a K, not a C. So Uncle with a K, Cecil, and we're there daily. We try our best to advocate as much as we can, and working with Miss Tiffany Billions, doing campaigns and videos, and at one while we're doing petitions and having people sign them. But every petition that was put forth in support of Carmelo, the ops, quote unquote, like these kids say, they were having the petitions taken down. So we weren't making any leeway with that. So we had to figure out another avenue. Now what we're doing is pressing for these videos to be put out as a campaign, and really just focused on trying to get that DA out of there, because out of those 11 women, like I said, 6 of them settled out of court for $1.75 million. And not only did they settle out of court, but they still working his right now today. And they cannot talk about the case that he put them through. They can't address anything that he's done to them or anything. But they still have to work with him daily. And that's crazy.
Wow.
But they still have to do that. Yeah, it's pretty tough. But like I say, we've been advocating for Melo since April the 4th. We not stopped. We will not be silenced. We will do whatever it takes, even if we got to get some of them chairs like they had on that boat down there in Alabama.
Come on now.
In Collin County. That's how ready we are. we just thank you guys for allowing us a little few minutes to clear up a couple of things, and just so that you guys know, I am streaming you guys right now live on TikTok, so everybody on the TikTok platform can hear us right now.
Amen.
So the word is getting near and far. We just have to keep advocating, keep a level head, because the ops plan to knock us off. I know, and keep us all jumbled in our thought process so that we'll, fall off one way or the other, and not working.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
It's not happening.
It is not happening. Well, again, I want to thank you for stopping by and sharing with us. Definitely want them to release this footage. Dwayne, how can I forgot what are we doing for them to release the footage? Is it a TikTok? Is it TikTok or Twitter that they are doing this campaign to release the footage? I think they said that Elon Musk had actually spoke up and tweeted about the footage. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, actually, it's on every social media platform that you have. We're trying to get that information out. And yes, Elon, what happened? Sarah J. Fields and a few other were posting about different things about this case and about Tiffany Billions, basically, is what they were doing, trying to silence her about the information, because she just gives out straight facts. So if you see her on, you know you're getting facts. And so they have been trying forever after they got her Facebook page shut down. They've been trying to get her shut down, period. They try to even get her, they actually walked paperwork into the court and try to get the judge to actually put her under a gag order. And the DA told them that you cannot gag her. And so they are upset about that moment. So basically,
He went out again.
we lose him again.
Yes, we apparently.
We don't want him to say the information. So I already know what's happening. Bring on this next caller.
So we have caller number 3 in queue. Caller number 3, if you would, please state your name and where you're calling from.
My tribal name is Huni Bakatun. My painted stage name is Master. Magic Man Haru. How you doing, beautiful and brilliant International Internet Radio Hall of Famer and spiritual daughter of mine? Honor to your special honored guest. I want to speak about the latest news. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but blame my heart will bring my mind and not my heart. I believe the young man's name is Demar Travion.
Yeah, they call him Trey Reed.
Right? It's time for another Mississippi Brawl round 2.
Well, it's 2.
It's definitely time for round 2.
It's 2.
It's time for round 2, because some people may not have heard my last show. Me and my very special honored co-host, Mr. Jeffrey Simons, also known as Mr. Boston. But the name of that advancement was What's a Father to Do? Right? Having said that, it's giving you kind of the Cliff Notes part of it. First of all, a lot of people got to stop accepting money, because the evil ones in their time, they worship money. And like I said before on that show, the archive is available, but I'm going to say right now, there's no amount of money in the world you could ever pay me for doing something to a child of mine. The only thing that's required, and it will be paid in full, is for that person to pay the ultimate price in this world. Anyway, I'm a host of this great show, great radio station that is. And my next advancement will be tomorrow, where I will have the honor of interviewing Mr. Vincent Moto. That will be, we will aware you, one-on-one interviews. This is something else that I'm getting ready to add to this great franchise, okay? But love you, brilliant and beautiful.
And Huni,
daughter of
mind.
I want to say something before you leave. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, but there was another young man found in the same style in this not too far from that same area. So we now have two individuals in Mississippi that have been hung, as you would say. I have a picture.
About 2 minutes to address this right now, because I have to.
I have
too many of our people. We got to remember, we are travel people. We got to start traveling alone, right? There's no excuse for someone to be traveling alone like that at any time. We're dealing with some soulless, you know what? I'm doing my best to keep it clean on your show, right? But we have to stop being so trusted, original people. Original children of the Most High. Stop being so trusted. Because these people have a history, and I said it correctly. They have a history of doing any and everything and getting away with it. And again, we have to get back to how we are at our best as travel people when we travel and live of, for, and by each other. Stop allowing them to make it seem like what we did in times past that worked for us, but it benefits them. Because again, there's no excuse for that young man to have been traveling, whatever he was, to be found alone in order for them to do what they did to get away with it. The last thing I want to say, see the natures of these people that supposed to be in the image and after the likeness of so-called God-fearing Christians, as they call themselves, right? But yet and still, they're going to unalive one of ours. And people have been duped to believe that everybody is the same. The devil is a lie. Love you.
all right. Dwayne, you back?
Yes, ma'am, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. My phone is tripping out here in Utah. This is where I'm at on the road. But yeah, we just have to, as the brother just said, we have to get to a point to where we're not fearful to protect our own and ourselves. That is the main issue with this Carmelo Anthony situation. Carmelo Sincere Anthony had the audacity to want to get home to his family after he was attacked by these young twins that had their MAGA starter pack from their daddy and their bullying wings from the 4th grade, allegedly. They are upset because he is alive. You had a young man down the street in Kilgore, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Lucas Hardeman. He was 14 years old at the middle school. Said a joke that one of the bullies didn't like. They knocked his head on the metal chairs first, and then they picked him up and slammed that young man on his head. They wanted Carmelo to look like that. They also had a young man that was, I believe, that was in Alabama a few weeks ago that was going to a football practice, and the bullies decided to power drive him down the bleachers, and then said he just fell. And then the truth came out that they actually did something to him. I haven't heard anything else about that case after their father was telling them that no, something else had to happen. Mm-hmm. That young man was in the hospital clinging to his life with a broken neck. That's what they wanted Carmelo to be like. Or Trayvon Martin, walking with some Skittles. And a man, a grown man, with a complex of being in law enforcement, decided he was going to go and disturb this young man's peace. And got beat up for it. Because Trayvon started beating him up. But he used the law, and he ended Trayvon's life. Tamir Rice was just playing in the park, minding his own business with a water gun. And these cops decided to come up and end his life in 9 seconds. 9. This is what we're living in. We're living in a space to where these people don't care about our existence. They want to be us so bad because they know they come from us. And since that's the case, that's what hurts their brains so hard. Because they don't know how to get rid of us. If they do anything to right the laws the wrong way here in the United States of America, they removed themselves, because guess what? We have people that were indigenous to this country before them. The scriptures say so in the Old Testament. He said, I'm going to put you on every continent. And that's what he did.
Come on.
And so since we are indigenous to this land, they don't know what to do to get rid of this beautiful blackness that we have. And actually it's brown. So we just keep start talking about the blackness. Get rid of this beautiful brown ebony essence that we have. They can't stand it because they cannot produce it. They cannot reproduce it. They cannot make it. So they are hurting themselves, and they feel that they can snuff us out at every chance we get. So young people who are in this country, in the United States of America, you have the right to arm yourself. You have the right to go get your concealed handgun license and carry just like they do when you're in these open carry states. Protect yourself. Don't be scared to do what you need to do to come home to your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your auntie, your grandparents. Come home. We don't need you to be sitting there talking about you took one for the team because you didn't want to get in trouble. That's not what this life is about these days. Because they've shown you by them taking out their own. And
come on.
They told you and they showed you that they don't care about you because they'll take out their own when they get out of line.
We got caller. Look, we got caller number 4 on queue. Let's bring up caller number 4. Caller number 4, if you would, please state your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hey, it's Des calling in from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Hey, Des, how you doing?
Hey, Angela, how you doing? I'm enjoying your topic. I'm sorry we have to have this topic, though. That keeps continuing. But I appreciate you having the conversation.
Well, thank you for chiming in. Thank you for listening. So what are your thoughts?
I have so many thoughts. I don't even know where to start. I mean, if we're talking about Charlie Kirk, do I think he deserved to be assassinated? No. But he got what he wanted. I mean, this is what he talked about that he wanted. You know, this is what MAGA said that they wanted. I don't understand why my people are so mad. Like, well, you know, y'all wanted affirmative action overturned. Y'all wanted DEI overturned. Y'all wanted, you know, them to take away your SNAP benefits. You wanted them to take away Medicare and Medicaid. You didn't want any diversity. You didn't want any equity. You didn't want any inclusion. You know, you wanted the violence, and now we're surprised by the violence. You didn't think the leopards would eat your face? You know, with my relationship with Mr. L and all of the friends and all of my WBNN family and every person I know that don't look like me or live like me or think like me, like I'm trying not to go into hopelessness, but I'm truly scared. And like I told Mr. L the other night, I said every single day when you come home, I hold my breath. My world stops for the ride for you to come home from work.
Wow.
And you know, so there's plenty of people that say, "Oh, well, this doesn't affect me. This doesn't affect me." No, it does. It does. You know, Troy Reed, rest in power. Rest in peace. He shouldn't be resting right now. He should be going to school with his friends. And so should the other 2 kids. And as much as I did not like to hear anything that Charlie Kirk had to say or anything that he stood for, hell, I guess he should still be out here doing his crap on his podcast. You know, I don't like that it happened, but it was traumatizing. Do I mourn him? Absolutely not. I gave him the same mourning I gave my father. I didn't shed a tear. And I'm with Dr. Henry. Yeah, let's bring back the Montgomery Brawl again. Well, you know, do we need to start producing more chair earrings? I'll wear them. I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm truly concerned.
Wow. Well, I thank you for chiming in. If you would, please tell us when is your next show?
It is October 2nd at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 Central Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. The topic is still, we're doing a series, and the topic for U-Turn is still dismantling white supremacy within finance.
All right. Well, definitely will be chiming in, and thank you for what you do here on the WBNN, and thanks for calling in on tonight. Y'all, it is that time for us to have our final thoughts. Dwayne, I definitely will probably have you back on. Definitely want to give the advocates that are advocating for Carmelo an opportunity to come on and share. I am dedicating the rest of my shows to bringing a highlight to this case and to share about this case because I can't sit by and see this young man be a part of the judicial corruption that takes place in the state of Texas. I talk to too many people that are already tied up in the system, and I hear them on the other side of that phone call and having to advocate for them, having to write letters to the prison when they are not getting the proper medication, when they're not getting the proper food, when they feeding them, how they feeding them, when they feeding them, and all of the different things that they are doing. So I definitely want to invite you back, and any of the advocates that are in your circle that may want to be a part, I invite them to come and to share their perspective and to share something that we may not have talked about tonight because it's a lot. When I tell you it's a lot, it is a lot involved in this case. And I know that this show is not it is not enough time to tell it all. So I definitely invite you back. If you would please share your final thoughts for those that are tuned in.
Final thoughts. I just really want everyone to really dig in and keep the Anthonys in prayer. Keep Carmelo in prayer for just his mental state, and give to the Give Send Go. / help Carmelo, and just make sure that it says going to Kayla Hayes. That's his mother, and that way you know that that's the one you're giving to. This family needs everything that we can get to them. They need that and then some, because they have a lot that they have gone through in the wake of this moment because of these evil people on the other side, and I'm just going to call it what it is, that have accosted this family, just like Austin, Hunter, and their two friends, the Gang of Thieves, decided to assault Carmelo. They're doing the same thing to all the advocates, anyone that dare to speak on this moment. And like the lady said earlier that called in, they are threatening witnesses. They're threatening people in the DFW area to stay silent on this thing. People are scared to lose their jobs, their houses, all those different things. That's what the links are they're going to keep the truth out. So if you want to help that moment, give to the Give Send Go. Support this family, pray for them, but also get behind spreading on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, on any social media you have, YouTube. Every chance you get, tell people that they need to pressure Frisco ISD and our great Attorney General of the state of Texas to release the footage. Because if, just like Elon Musk said, release it. Because if you release it, the truth will come out. All the lies will have to stop, and then we can see the true people get locked up for the death of Austin Metcalf. And like my sister Miss Bossy said, we advocate for justice for Austin Metcalf. And justice for Austin Metcalf is for Hunter, is to gang the thieves, and all the people who have conspired since then to keep the truth from coming out, and that's from the top on down. All those people need to have a RICO charge and be locked up federally and state for what they have done, trying to keep the truth away from the people in this case. And I just pray strength for young Carmelo Anthony. That king is a blessing to everyone, because he showed us what strength looks like in the face of fear. He shows what strength looks like in the face of your life flashing before you, because these people got you in a headlock and you can't breathe. He showed us what integrity and strength is, to stand up to bullies and say, no, not me today. And so we need to show the same strength and integrity to stand up for this young king and let these evildoers know that, no, you ain't doing this no more. And that's where we need to be with this. Praying for them, praying for each other, and let's stop these people from just having the audacity to take out our young people, whether that's through the hanging of trees, whether that's kidnapping them, whether it's kidnapping truckers on the street, whatever it is. Let's let them know that if you touch ours, we're not going to stand for it, and we're not going to sleep until you pay for it.
That part. Well, again, I thank you for coming on and sharing with me on tonight. Again, if you guys would please, if you feel it in your heart to donate, you can go over to www.givesendgo.com/help Carmelo. Make sure that it says Help Carmelo Official Funds and donate. Every little bit counts. And if you are on social media, you can use the hashtags. Hashtag release the footage, hashtag hello Carmelo, hashtag justice for Carmelo. These are some of the hashtags that we have been using to really try to get it out there, because we need them to release the footage. They like we said before, they were allowing individuals to sign up and go down and view it, and then they just stopped. They stopped because someone was trying to record it, and then they tried to blame some other things. But we need this footage released. Like Elon Musk said, release the footage. And y'all, it's NGOZI time.
First of all, I'm gonna come on and say some things that might maybe lose my FCC license, and I don't really give a goddamn. I'm gonna say what I gotta say. First and foremost, all you cowards, roll up out there. You need to be ashamed of yourself. You allowed two down, talk about hanging. It's not a hanging. It's lynching. To get the words right tonight, lynching of our two black brothers. Let me explain something to you. I'm gonna talk to the old. I'm going to talk to the young, the old, the hot, and the cold. To all of our brothers out there that's in black militias, there should not have been not one quiet moment when you learned that our kids are being lynched. It should have been so much noise that it should have been on CBS, ABC, whatever, the alphabet. They should have been called the National Guard down of the insurrection. All the Black Panther Party, the Diggers of the Fed, all you so-called brothers that so tough on social media, but you really goddamn power, because you didn't come out and support the families after this election. Now, to my folks, I got my in California, upbringing. And so all of my, so-called YNs out there. What? For what? In the world, you gangsters out there are not, you're perpetrating a fraud. Anytime white folks try to harm us, y'all know what time it is. eradicate violence is to cripple what? Y'all know who I'm talking about, who I am. This is your triple OG. It's to cripple what? Y'all know what time it is. The world. You just allow anybody in your neighborhood to be killed like that, to be lynched. Cripple what? Tomorrow night we had Lee Bucketston, we were aware, United States should be on time to leave that nation. WBNN Communications Advertising goes into multimedia, terrorist school with Instagram and Exponent, Twitter, all of the label and goes to Facebook. Any kind of suggestions on wonderful program tonight, oldlady.gosumachi.com. I am your mother and father's favorite producer. I'm not even going to tell you my credentials. It don't even matter. It don't even matter. I know who I am. I know who I am. I've been spending years. I'm so pissed off right now, I could really scream. Stop being talked out there. I ain't going to talk about all. I ain't talking about nothing. You scared people that allow people to die in your neighborhood, and you march for police killing your kids, but you don't march for Ray Ray and Shay Shay? You be ashamed yourself. How do you close the door and put the shutters down your windows? Why are you not marching at that time, on that night, on that day, when a child gets killed in your community? Why are we not doing that? Social media got shows and all that. Action. I'm tired of our kids being murdered. Definitely by our own so-called YN that don't get it together, and we're not coming together and saying, hey, as a grown-up, I'm putting my life on the line for these kids. I don't care what y'all do. Come on, I need to talk to you. What's going on, OG? What's going on? What's going on, old school? I need y'all to come in here and we need to talk right now. We need to get this together. Not just me, but other like-minded, strong men. Because women have been putting it down for years. We're strong men. They're willing to put their life on the line to save our children. And I'd be goddamn to allow any cracker to kill our kids. Man, Angie, come on, man. I'm tired of this shit. Come on and talk. I'm mad as shit. Go. Finish up.
So I want to thank you guys that tuned in on tonight. Definitely want to thank Dwayne for stopping by and shedding some light on this case. I extend my platform to any advocate, anyone that is fighting this fight for Carmelo. I truly am just trying to be that change that I desire to see in this world. I have been a part of this network for 5 going on 6 years. And everybody that have been tuning in know how I am and how I go hard for my community and for us to stand up and be that change that we desire to see in this world. We have to understand that change begins and ends with us. What will you do? Will you stand for something or continue to fall for anything? Y'all, I will be back in 4 weeks. 4 weeks from tonight. I will be back in 4 weeks from tonight. Tune in because we will continue this conversation. Y'all be blessed and know that the Queen loves you. Have a great night.